It's on Coach Heupel's tab.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Talk about being here, first time representing Tennessee as head football coach.
Yeah, absolutely. So excited. Really proud of the two guys that we brought with us, Alante and Bayless. Had a great morning here, easy flight up, and excited just an opportunity to be able to share where we're at in Tennessee football and what the future holds, and really proud of our football team, where we've come in 5.5, 6 months, and obviously we've got a long ways to go, but really excited about the progress we've made.
Coach, Commissioner Sankey talked about yesterday about 6 of the 14 are at 80%. Are you all one of those 6?
We're not at the threshold yet. We're coming close. We continue to progress. More and more of our kids are continuing to get vaccinated. Our medical team's done a great job of educating our players and our staff, to be honest, about the benefits of it. And we'll continue to push forward as we get close to training camp.
What's been your message on that and your approach to that with your team?
It's an individual decision for everybody, right? It's personal health, right? But I think you want to educate your players as much as you can to the benefits of it, right? And have a real conversation with them about what they're reading, what they're hearing, and what the reality of it is. Dr. Klink, our medical staff, does a tremendous job of that, of sharing information with our players and educating them, and then re-educating them too as this process has gone on and it first got rolled out.
Do you have a ballpark of what percentage you guys are at?
Yeah, we're just a little bit below that threshold. I feel like that's something that's attainable for our football team as we move forward.
Would you talk about the college football playoff going from 4 to 12 teams eventually? Do you like that idea?
Yeah, I think at the center of everything that we do in college football has to be the player experience, right? And making sure that we're putting them in the best position to have a great experience. The more teams that have an opportunity to compete for a national championship, that's awesome. Obviously, you don't want to take away from the general bowl experience for all the teams that are playing in that bowl game that may not be a part of the playoff, right? You also want to take into consideration the health of your players and the length of the season. And at the end of the day, that committee will do a great job of deciding what's right for us and as college football, and we move forward. But certainly an advocate for anything that increases the player experience.
You're moving to morning practices. Talk about the thinking behind that.
Yeah, just in a real casual dialogue when I first got to campus, as we talked about the things that mattered to our players, and there were a lot of things that were deep in conversation. How do we connect more as a football team? What's our accountability like? But then there's some one-offs too, and whether that's player uniforms or just practice times, and having done it both in the afternoon and in the morning. Our players were interested in it. I kind of talked about our experience, my experience with it, our staff's experience with it, and some of the benefits that come along with it, both on the football side, but also academically, I feel like. And our administration has done a great job of allowing us to maneuver our sessions with our players and put us in a position where we'll be able to do that this fall.
How early will you start? Do you know the time frame there?
Yeah, we're right in that 7:30 time frame where our players will be in the building with us.
Josh, what's your message to your players about the NIL coming in and how to balance those pursuits with what they're trying to do on the field and with the team?
Well, don't ever forget why you're here, right? And it's true when you're 18 to 22. It's true when you're 43 years old like I am too, right? Don't ever lose sight of what your priorities are, right? And as long as you're able to focus and work towards your goals of what really matters, right? Some of the outside experiences that our players have an opportunity to take advantage of are really important. And I just go back to my playing days, right, and the opportunities that I would have had, that I did have as soon as my playing career was done. Those are unique opportunities that have an opportunity to help you grow as a player too. And Grant Firking, one of our players that runs his own multi-million-dollar business, right? I think he's expressed it in a really good way. It's got an opportunity to help our players grow up really quickly. Once they get to campus, being focused on what's the outside perception of myself as a player, right? What do I need to do to continue to build my brand, build my resume, and put myself in a great position that when football is done, I'm ready to go out and attack life.
You've all done so much team building this off season. You've got so many new faces. Is that something you'll continue through fall camp to kind of let these new guys kind of get a feel for everybody else?
It's going to be who we are inside of our program as we move forward in my tenure. I just think connection is so important. Relationships are a foundation of anything that you do inside of a corporation, inside of a football program. It's important that the player experience is real, right? And so many people use family as a word in recruiting, but don't live that thing out every day. At the end of the day, it means that you spend time together, right? And we work hard. Our players compete extremely hard. They've grown so much inside of the game. At the same time, you get a great opportunity to spend time with each other and create real experiences. And I know, like, you win a national championship, that's awesome. It's fun. It's worth every price that you paid to go after it. At the same time, when you get done with it, those experiences and the people that you're with matter just as much as that experience of going and hoisting a national championship trophy. And so I want to make sure that we create avenues for our players to have those experiences together.
Josh, how different have these first maybe 6-7 months been for you when you consider you took over, most coaches take over programs that are struggling like you have, but you also took over one that was undefeated. So along those lines, how different personally have the two experiences been for you?
I think every job is different, right? Because the players are different, but the recruiting landscape's different, the conference is different, the city that you reside in, everything is so different. Certainly, you look at the differences in wins and losses of the two programs that I took over. I think the other major difference in taking this program over is when we took it over. I got there end of January. Our staff was there in the middle of February. You condensed, 7 months of work into 5 months of work really quickly by the time we got to June in recruiting. Our staff worked really hard. I think we've pushed forward on creating real relationships with our player that's going to pay dividends this season, but also as we move forward. It's allowed us to be real on the field and off the field with our players about where we're currently at and where we need to get to.
Do you still feel like catch-up mode? Do you still feel like you're in catch-up mode?
I think in year one, I don't know that catch-up mode is right, but it's your first time going through anything together. So naturally, you're going to find things that you want to tweak as you go through it. I feel like we're in a great position. Our staff has pushed forward. Our players have pushed forward. I love where we're at heading into training camp. We got to have a great training camp. We got to grow in our football knowledge and understanding of who and what we are. We got a bunch of new players that came on campus after spring ball. Those guys got to accelerate their growth curve and be ready to go compete. But now it's a one-day approach once we get into training camp and put ourselves in a great position to kick it off in September.
What's been your message to the quarterbacks, for quarterbacks this summer, trying to get better to them, learning with their teammates, getting timing down? How have you approached that this summer?
Really, in a lot of ways, it's the same as it is with any of your players, right? You got to go earn it. And I think it's really critical that your quarterback earns the right to be your starting quarterback. I think it's important for the 14 other guys on your roster that they see that guy's earned it, offensively and defensively. To do that, you got to go through the process. There is a ton of growth that happens for your players, in particular your quarterbacks, once they get done with spring ball, in particular the first year, right? They get a chance to fundamentally grow through the summer. They get to redigest your schematics, your playbook, and become a different player by the time they step foot back on campus when you kick off training camp. And you got to let kids go through that. As kids earn the opportunity for more reps or earn the opportunity to decrease their reps, then we'll make choices at the quarterback position just like we will at any other position.
Whose growth in that time impressed you on that front?
You talking about this summer?
Yeah, this summer.
I think you're going to find out when you get out there and there's live bullets and you see how they communicate, how they process, their ability to make decisions, their ability to reset from one play to another play.
Mm-hmm. Josh, you've been in Knoxville for a few months. What are kind of the biggest lessons you've learned about the culture around Tennessee since you've, in your time here?
I just think back to, and it's been a short summer, right? It's been a short July. June was a rat race in a lot of positive ways. Opportunity just to meet so many people in recruiting that you hadn't had an opportunity to see yet, players and parents alike, right? And then have an opportunity to get kids on campus and go through a camp setting. So that part's been awesome. But, we get into July, opportunity to spend a little bit of time with my wife and my kids. We knew in moving here that it was a beautiful, special place. I don't think we grasped the totality of that, and the ability to jump on the river and the lake here in Knoxville, hit trails. My daughter's got me out hitting a golf ball, which anybody that knows me knows that that's not my cup of tea, but I'll do it for her. She can knock the cover off of it right now. But then getting up in the Smoky Mountains and floating the river and hitting trails and hitting Gatlinburg and playing mini golf with the kids, it's been in a short amount of time, it's been a lot of fun getting to know the culture of Tennessee.
How would you describe kind of the looming sanctions effect on the program and recruiting, and what has that been like for the last?
The looming effect is it's just a true conversation that you have to have with your recruits. It was a question that I asked before I took this job. Our administration was completely transparent with me. I trusted them in that in some respects because of who they are, but also my experience with our athletic director. It's a conversation that we've had with our recruits when they've come on campus. At the end of the day, I'm going to revert back to what I said in the beginning. I really do feel like this is going to be a speed bump, all right? And something that the kids that we're recruiting and the majority of our players on campus, we're going to be able to go chase and compete for championships once they're on campus. I feel like we've positioned ourselves to swallow up any of the potential sanctions here in this first year and be able to move forward and go compete.
All right.
Okay, thanks guys.